prepared mentally for this. I wasn't prepared mentally for this. Thank you for joining the Escape With Me Book Club. Escape with me, Sam Reiner.
And me, Keira.
Into our most recent read. Come with us as we evade reality and go into detail about a new book. We'll be covering the book from beginning to end, so there will be spoilers. Today we're going on a road trip through continental United States.
We're getting tangled up, baby.
Stop. Published June 25th, 2024, Tangled Up in You is the fourth installment in the Disney Meant to Be series. This time, it's Rapunzel's turn to get the contemporary romance treatment. Does this book deserve to have the highest Goodreads score of the series?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Good old Goodreads. Never incorrect in their life.
Or does it fall short like some of the previous entries? All of them, honestly. For about the author, Christina Lauren, who I've seen all over the place. I have a couple of books on her TBR because Danielle really likes them.
Okay.
But this is not one person. This is a writing duo.
I didn't see that until I was reading the acknowledgments at the end. Oh, okay. It's two writers.
Yeah. They're a combo team of Christina Hobbs and Lauren Billings. So that's kind of cool that they got both their names on the cover.
Yeah.
But they have written a lot. So many books, like over 30.
Yeah, I did go to their Wikipedia page today, and it was kind of insane.
Yeah, it is so productive. That's insane. And you just don't see that many duos, and especially not so many duos doing it like this. Like I said, Danielle loves several of the books, like giving them 5 stars.
Wow, all right.
Yeah, so they can do it. They're contemporary romance writers. Lauren, her backstory is crazy because before she became a writer, she got her doctorate in neuroscience from UC Irvine.
Huh, okay.
You know, just casual things that people do.
She was there studying neuroscience, being like, maybe someday. All right, Tangled fan fiction.
So before she became an author, she researched neurodegeneration and aging.
Huh.
Yeah, so like I said, just casual, you know, it's what everyone could do on a Tuesday. Yes, you know, that's so crazy. And they do have several books that have a science tilt to it. And I'm like, okay, so this was Lauren's concept.
Interesting.
Christina, on the other hand, used to be a junior high school counselor.
One is the left brain, one is the right brain, one is the scientist, one is all the feelings. There you go.
And development and understanding.
That's the real secret.
It doesn't really say too much extra about them, but apparently, I kind of love this. They met in 2009 while writing fan fiction.
Yeah, that's what I saw too. I was like, yeah, well, they're besties. They're in it to win it.
I love that so much.
What do you think they wrote fan fiction about? Do you think it was Tangled fan fiction?
2009?
But when the movie came out, a year later.
I think 2009, like, let me be for real, Twilight.
I was going to say Harry Potter, honestly.
It could be because that's still alive and well, but part of me is like, that's a little late versus Twilight, which came out in 2005 and the movie came out in 2008. So that's like the year before.
Yeah, the movie is fresh in their brains at this point. So very possible.
So I'm going to say Twilight. Maybe it was Harry Potter, although none of them have a magical tilt from what I saw.
Right, yeah.
Then again, none of them are about vampires either, so, you know.
But there's a guy named Edward in this one, you know. Some of it might trickle through.
I don't know. Watch it be like the most obscure AO3 subgenre.
They were the ones writing fan fiction for Avatar pre-sequels. It was them.
This random movie that bombed in like 1982.
They're keeping the Last Starfighter fandom alive.
When did the first FNAF game come out? Oh gosh, that's creepy. It came out in 2014, but if you Google FNAF, Teddy's eyes appear and look around.
That's crazy.
fun little things, you know. So it's not that, but I'm sure it was something crazy and awesome. Either that or it was Twilight. So yeah, so many books together. It's crazy. Like most authors don't even get to that level.
Right. Yeah.
And they did it together. I wonder if that helps, you know, splitting the work. But also, like, it would be so complicated. I mean, obviously, they probably figured out a system by now, but writing with someone could be the most freeing experience, but it also could be a pain in the neck.
Part of me wonders if they split it up chapter by chapter.
By character? By character,
or even some of the big swings that happen in, I don't know, the last 80 pages of the book. Maybe that's one of them.
Let's see, the book was like a 309 pages. So one of them was writing like 220 pages, and the other, who was finishing something else or maybe had a personal thing, comes in. She's like, oh, I'll take over on the book. And the first one's like, oh, okay, here's 220 pages. And the other one's like, I got it.
Yeah, she just swept in at the last minute and added the last chunk.
The drama. It's me. It's literally us writing something together. The drama.
Slow-paced and cozy for 300 pages and then 80 pages that takes you on the wildest ride of your life.
Oh my goodness. But background on this, I wasn't a massive Rapunzel fan.
Interesting.
Nothing wrong with her. There was a huge Frozen versus Rapunzel, which I don't understand to this day. But I was definitely more into Frozen. I liked the story going on there, and I really identified with Elsa, as did probably every 4 to 8-year-old that wanted to sing Let It Go on karaoke night. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't that big a fan of Flynn. And I definitely disliked Mother Gothel. So maybe that has something to do with it, but I like it. You can put it on. I'm not going to complain. If someone was like, Rapunzel's my favorite princess, I could be like, yeah, I can totally see why you would say that. If they said Tangled has the best love story...
What is the canonical age difference between Rapunzel and Flynn Rider?
Oh, for the movie?
In the movie.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm like, about with the romance in Tangled.
I don't take anything of it seriously. She's 18 and he's 26.
Okay, yeah, it's a little...
So not as bad as you thought it was.
It could have been worse, but it's pretty bad still.
Okay, weird. He's generally cited as 26 based on animator comments, though some sources or early concepts consider him 22 to 23.
Okay, that's better. If it's just like an offhand comment from an animator, they are all going to have different answers. They're all looking at different things, you know.
And then in the TV show, she's 20 to 21.
Right. I haven't watched the TV show, but I really like the animation style. I've been meaning to just put it on while I'm doing stuff. But my relationship with Tangled, I didn't see it in theaters. I think we got it from Netflix DVD in your mailbox. So that's a age check right there. And for context, the era that it's coming out, John Lasseter's taken over Disney Animation like 4 years earlier. This movie is already in development, called like Rapunzel Untold or Unraveled or something like that. It's very much Disney being like, Shrek is so popular, so cool. We need to do Shrek, even though it's parodying us. And it's that era of Chicken Little and that kind of vibe where it's like, oh, we're cool. Yeah, we're DreamWorks.
Oh my goodness, Chicken Little. I'm the only person that liked that movie.
Well, no, I've met a few people who are nostalgic for it, but I do think it's at least in the bottom 10 of the Disney feature animation roster or whatever.
I have the video game and I very much enjoyed it.
And looking at it in what Disney is trying to do at that time, where they're like, oh, we need to be Shrek.
Yeah, we need to be quirky.
We need to be quirky and pop culture-y and self-aware. And Tangled is in development as just Rapunzel the movie, but they're cool and they're self-aware and stuff like that. And then John Lasseter comes in and retools everything by being a creep. And it becomes this kind of weird mishmash where it is sincere and it's genuine, but also it's like a little coy. They're cool. It's not Rapunzel, it's called Tangled or whatever. So I saw it in that lens and enjoyed it. I do think so much of this Tangled versus Frozen discourse that happens, or especially was prevalent on social media back in 2014 or so. I think so much of that comes from the fact that Frozen was so big big, it was the cool thing in 2014 to be like, hey, guess what? I think Tangled is better, or whatever. And to be fair, I do think Tangled is better than Frozen. I don't even dislike Frozen. I think they're both good. But I do think the thing that sticks with me from Tangled is the music. I could totally get your take from it, but in the modern oeuvre.
Oh, yeah, no, Rapunzel had the better songs.
Yeah, in the modern oeuvre of Disney princesses 2010 onward, like this current CGI era, I would say Rapunzel is maybe just beneath like Encanto and Moana. Those are the only two from this current era. I guess, I don't know, Mirabelle's not a princess, whatever, but like this current era of Disney CG animation. Encanto and Moana 1 are the two that are above it. I think positively of this movie is what I'm trying to say.
That being said, this interpretation definitely makes me hate the movie more.
Yeah, okay. I am not gonna lie. I was texting my girlfriend about this because she's also a Disney nerd, and I was like, you know what? I am okay with this. I'm on board with this.
I was on board with it too.
The Beauty and the Beast one was kind of rough, and I wish that the Cinderella one had gone a little further. And I was like, you know what? This Tangled one so far it's not bad. And this was maybe 3/4 of the way through before those last 80 pages or so. And then if it had kept the course that I thought it was tracking, it probably would have been a close number 2. And I don't know. That's changed.
Yeah. But so many thoughts. Age level for this, before we get too into it, is adult, although very short. Content warning: language, nudity, sex mention, kidnapping, and death.
I had to reread the last little bit twice because I was like, wait, did they just straight up kill this person? I was like, wait, what?
This book was 2 different books.
Insane.
We will get there in my -1 star, but judge book by its cover.
I'll be real, I do not imagine them looking like these two at all.
Oh, not at all.
I'm sure that they're embellishing the cover just so it's super easy to tell, oh, this is the Tangled one. Because you can look at the covers of most of them, maybe not the Beauty and the Beast one, and figure out, okay, I can figure out what this book is adapting. And they're like, there's not really an easy way for us to make this really known that this is Tangled. So here, she has exaggeratedly long blonde hair, because otherwise you're going to have a tough sell.
Can't just have long hair.
Right. It could just be blonde and super long. But even beyond that, the thing that I did not imagine Edward looking like that at all.
No.
I imagined him a little more Flynn Rider-y, not just bare-faced and bland, the blandest man you'll ever see, you know?
Okay, looking at that one and thinking about the other ones, doesn't it just feel cheaper than the others?
Yeah.
It reminds me of the second one when we were like, how is this even?
Yeah, I think it's just a color combo as well. Even if we're like a slightly lighter turquoise, I think that would read a little more polished to me. I don't know.
I do not know.
Firework PNG. They've got the same little graphics for the fireworks in the corner.
Yeah, reading the book, you're like, okay, this is a little bit more, but all that's there is the 2 of them, and then there's fireworks in the sky, and then there's a white Mustang.
Yeah.
And that's it. Anyway, the drama is not about the front cover, though. It's about the back cover. Am I right? Because let's talk about this series and why I think the 5th book is the last book.
Yeah.
First of all, book 1, 2, and 3 have audiobooks.
Yes, that's true. With the earlier ones, there was at least the option to do audiobook or to read, but these last 2 books
do not have audiobooks.
Yeah.
And this one's been around since 2024, and there is no news about it getting an audiobook.
Yeah.
Second, the back of the book isn't praise for this book like it's been for the other 3. It's praise for the first 3 books.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And I did think it's funny. You know how we've been pointing out that the previous author will always review?
Yeah.
Well, they dropped the first author from the second book and used 2 other ones, but they kept Jasmine for the 3rd one. So fascinated.
Oh, dear.
It feels like it's getting cheaper.
Yeah.
There's no audiobook. There's no call like another one's going to be released, because I think these are always released in June, like one a year.
Right.
And you mentioned that, oh, but the box set is only the first 4. If this was really going to be the end of the series, it should be the first 5. And to that, I raise you with Disney don't care. The box sets of Twisted Tales makes no godly sense.
Wait, what's in that one?
Well, there's a bunch of different ones because they have so many books at this point. One of the box sets is the first 3, which makes sense. It's not, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's just randomly. Let's just grab 3 books from the series and just slap them together.
Maybe it's like, these are the ones that sold the least. Oh, we have so many of them in our warehouse. Just chuck them in a box, you know?
It's fine. No one wants Mulan and Little Mermaid and Snow White. No, let's skip all the way. 6 books later. It makes no sense what they put in a box set.
They should pull a bigger swing. They should have 3 princesses. So it's like Snow White, Aurora, Mulan, and just throw Dopey in there. The Dopey twisted tail.
Oh my goodness. The point is, I think they just threw whatever they had into a box set and were like, cool, it's fine.
Right.
It would be way too satisfying for them to have all 5 books.
Based on the flyer that I saw from my local bookstore, it looked like they were paperback too. Maybe that's it. Maybe they're just not going to bother doing the next one we're going to read in paperback. Oh, screw it at this point. We've committed to our 5 books. We don't have to do it in paperback too. And so they were already planning paperbacks for the other 2. So they're like, oh yeah, or the other 4. So just put those in a box. But I believe that the meant to be series beyond the next episode is just not meant to be.
Da 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 da. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I don't think we're getting anything, which is funny because the whole reason we started this series is for book 5. We have put ourselves through so much just to get to Jessie Q Sutanto, and I swear to goodness,
if this next book sucks,
if she's not on her A game,
I'm gonna be so mad.
We read 5 books for you, Jessie. But right now, we are talking to Christina Lauren.
Christina and Lauren, my 2 friends. We need to sit down. We need to talk with Christine and Lauren.
I just want to talk. So a couple of weird things just to start out. Going into this series, we're taking Rapunzel and we're modernizing it, right?
Right.
So how did you view a modern Rapunzel story starting?
I mean,
because it wasn't this.
Yeah, it's just her being like, I'm going to college at the start, right?
Yeah, she's like, I'm growing up on a farm and I want to go to college, except they're not normal farmers, they're homesteaders, which if you don't know the difference, it means they've basically cut off from everything and try to be completely self-sufficient. It's very extreme.
It did take me at least a few pages just to be like, oh wait, this is the angle we're taking? Okay.
So homesteaders, okay, interesting. So you read the book and she calls her parents by their first name.
I mean, you know.
Which was very weird to me because I thought they were siblings for a moment, the way she was talking about them. And you come to find out, no, that's her supposedly biological parents.
Right.
I thought for a second, I was like, oh, she's adopted. And that's how we're going to modernize things. No, they're supposedly biological. Okay.
Yeah.
So farm girl wants to go to college, convinces her parents to go to college, which was impressive in and of itself. Because she is 22 and she's going to turn 23 on this trip.
Right.
So a lot of college graduates have graduated at this point or in their last semester. But she applied secretly, and so she's like, I'm going to college. And so her parents are like, we have all of these rules you must follow, right? No boys, no drinking, no restaurants.
That's kind of insane.
The restaurants gets me because you want to know specifically why it gets me?
Why?
She's not allowed to go out to eateries, but she's allowed to watch Grease. I'm sorry, what? The movie about society and specifically a man ruining a woman?
Dangle all these beautiful 50s and 60s milkshakes in front of you and go, you can't go there.
You can't go to the diner. Like, what do you do with those scenes? Like, that's sinful. Don't go to diners. They lived in the real world, and when she was 3, they moved to this homestead, cut off from technology. But they have a VHS player and all these VHS tapes, and Grease is one of them that she would watch weekly. Oh, it was the direct-to-TV version. Okay, so they skip the plot line about abortion, and then they don't have all the crude words in it. But, like, tell me more.
It's pretty explicit, yeah.
There's no way to make this plot not about how a greaser turns this cute little innocent girl into whatever the female form of a greaser is.
A bad girl, yeah.
What? I'm trying to imagine, like, equivalent of how ridiculous that sounds to me. And I'm thinking like, oh, we're not allowed to use swear words, but we watched, I can't even think of something as ridiculous. My brain goes to like Mean Girls or something where she gets hit by a bus.
There's plenty of options for this is your one film you're allowed. And Grease just feels like such a random choice that doesn't especially pay off.
Oh, she was allowed to watch Disney now.
Oh.
Of course. Disney's stepping into the homesteader market.
It's the one frontier we haven't claimed yet.
She hasn't seen Clueless, but she's seen Grease.
Next up, the Amish.
Literally. Amish wouldn't have a VHS player, but like the Amish being like, oh, you can watch Tron. Something so out there.
Yeah. You have one film and it's Tron. You get to look at it through a viewfinder.
Look how sinful this all is. How technology corrupts us. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like, and again, this is something we'll get into when we get into later book. There is a part of me that feels like a lot of the homesteader angle was just an afterthought. It was like, oh, how can these characters get away with this third act twist? Well, they're homesteaders. They're way out there, you know? And despite that Ren is cut off in certain ways and Ren doesn't know a lot about modern society, beyond that, it's, they live on a farm and they do farm things, you know? And how little Gloria and what's his name come into the book up until the very end. I don't know. I mean, yes, obviously she's away from them, but I feel like you could have explored this whole homesteader angle a little more. A lot of it feels like an afterthought.
It's so bizarre. There are moments where I'm like, how much editing do you guys do together? Because I'm wondering if that's where we're getting disconnected here.
Right.
Like one author was focusing on Gloria and Steve, and the other one was cute, fun road trip.
One of them had 100 pages exactly of homesteader content, and then they were just asked to spread that homesteader content into a 300-page novel.
So she goes to college, she has a female roommate, and I immediately thought this book would be better if it was gay.
If this lady had been in the book, if it was the two of them on the road trip, or even if she just tagged along, immediately better. Or even better if it was gay, obviously.
Because Fitz is the worst. Fitz is trash. Here's the thing. Last book, you were like, I'm so glad Eric got a POV. I think it made the book better. It really fleshed it out. It really gave us movement and stuff.
I did say that, didn't I?
You did say that.
Unfortunately, that doesn't apply here.
It does not apply here. Fitz getting a POV is awful. He is complete trash. He is so mean to her for no reason whatsoever. And he's just the worst. And we get to hear his thoughts about how he's the worst.
I'm the worst. Yeah. Yeah, you are.
And there was never a chapter that was from his POV that I didn't think would be perfectly fine from Ren's point of view.
That's the thing also. There were several times where I had to look back and be like, wait, so whose perspective? Oh, this is Edward got it. This is Ren got it, sort of thing. I would have to look back, at least after the first few sentences or so, just to be like, wait, who? It didn't immediately jump out in terms of there's a difference in the tone and delivery or anything.
I just hate him. It was bad enough in the movie, but I hate him so much. Anyway, she goes to college. Oh my gosh, she's so adorable. Everyone falls in love with her except for Fitz. Which, by the way, can we talk about how Pascal is a black cat?
Pascal was barely in it.
That is there twice.
Right.
A black cat. A black cat.
I guess you can't have a green cat.
She literally could have a lizard pet. That's the whole thing. She teaches herself Mandarin and economics. She can teach herself about lizards.
And she could have it in her dorm room and all that. There wouldn't be this massive separation.
No, and Max is Fitz's car.
I wasn't so mad about Max. I was like, okay, that's fine.
I am. That was one of the best parts of the movie was Max and Fitz in the background hating each other, but they both care about Rapunzel.
I was fine with the car being named Max, but I get it.
I'm upset we didn't get that as a character because somebody needed to call Fitz out on being terrible.
That car was breaking down. They were disagreeing. It took Ren fixing it,
Oh my goodness. I can't. So anyway, the plot, just like the movie. She has vague memories of a thing, and so she draws them everywhere. And instead of it being a sun, she draws fireworks, and I guess paints them too. Also, there's a throwaway line about how Rin's like, if I tried to draw Flynn, I wouldn't be able to get his nose right.
I wrote that down. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. The thing I wrote down is, how do we feel about this? I don't know how to feel. Am I bemused by this, or am I like, oh, come on? Because there were definitely times later on I was like, come on.
It's just a throwaway line, honestly.
Right.
I was okay with that because it's like, how are they going to fit that in? Like giving him wanted posters, you know? But drawing this fireworks, some of her earliest memories is of fireworks. And she doesn't want to go see the fireworks. No. What ends up getting her to want to leave the college and go see people is one of her professors. This is just like a small, tiny, possibly private college. And one of the professors is just like, I'm one of the inventors of basically 23andMe.
It doesn't pay very well. That's why I'm a professor.
And he's like, so all of you are gonna take the test because reasons. I want you to match your alleles and maybe see if you match family. What? And so she decides to do it even though she's not supposed to do it. And then she gets a hit back for her dad.
But her dad's a homesteader
who lives in Atlanta, Georgia. And I was literally...
Hometown.
A part of me was like, how funny would it be if her first memory is just the Stone Mountain Laser Show?
Her first memory is the pre-2007 World of Coke by the Capitol, where it's just the big Coke logo outside. That is her first pivotal memory.
Yeah, you just got a couple fireworks. No, it's just this random 4th of July fireworks. But I double-checked this 3 times. All his profile says is Atlanta, Georgia, which I don't know if you know this, is a major city.
Tell me all about it.
And even if you're like an hour away or an hour and a half away from the city, you're still going to say you're from Atlanta, Georgia?
I'm technically in Atlanta, Georgia now, 45 minutes from my workplace by train.
It's a big area is all I'm saying. And she's just like, I'm going to go to Atlanta, Georgia. I have not researched this man. I have not sent him an email. I'm just going to show up to Atlanta, Georgia. And she magically knows where his house is?
Did they not? How did they?
They didn't. They did not.
Okay, I assumed I was just tired while reading it. I was like, oh, that's probably happened somewhere for sure. They genuinely never did say that.
No, just magically she knows the exact address.
Crazy.
I cannot with that. But yes, so she wants to get to Georgia, but she can't. She doesn't have a lot of money. And she hears that Fitz is going to Nashville, and she's like, you're gonna take me because I found you cheating, going into a professor's grade book and changing the grades, which is stupid.
Right.
Because he just took an exam and he got a D, and he needs to be in the top of his class because then my record will be expunged because he went to juvie, and I'll get able to go to law school, and then I'll take my father down. But he decides the appropriate thing to do for that D is to go into the grade book and change the grade. Dude, there are like 6 of you in the class. He's gonna notice that you suddenly had a huge jump in grade. He has the papers to back it up.
Right.
And he's either gonna be like, oh, that's weird, I must have typed it in wrong, fix the grade in the portal, or he's gonna know something's up.
This man is not very intelligent.
That's so stupid. This isn't a class of like 100 students where you couldn't be expected to remember that. Oh my gosh, he's so stupid. That's such a stupid ploy. Also, randomly, they're going to introduce the fact that apparently the professor has a Polaroid. Is not mentioned before. It gets mentioned once after.
Okay, that was another place.
She just randomly grabs something on the shelf and it turns out it's a Polaroid camera because she doesn't have a cell phone.
That was the other part. I thought I was going crazy. I get to the part and they start talking about the picture and I'm like, wait, what? And I go back a page and I'm like, oh, wait, what? Bizarre.
It just feels like yes and a little bit.
Right.
Just go with it. Go with it. It's fine. We'll mention it later.
Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Shh. Shh, we got a deadline. Go on, don't worry about it.
Why does he have a Polaroid camera? Also, so he has an office that's connected to this lab. Why were the DNA results in the lab and not in his locked desk?
Because the plot couldn't happen if they weren't there. That's the answer.
Oh my gosh, I hate it. How did Flynn get into that room without going into the lab?
He crawled through the vents, obviously.
Oh my goodness, so many things just don't make sense. It's fine, we need to go on to a road trip, which is fine, but we hit the point where it just felt reductive. I get that the thing that makes the most sense for Rapunzel is a road trip, and that's probably the right decision, but we just read a book that was a road trip throughout the continental US and two people falling in love.
Right.
And then, oh no, the parental figure appears and is trying to split them apart and take Ariel home. Or sorry, Ren home in this case. And then they have to fight with love to fix it all. We read this book before.
Right.
They even have one bed scenes and skinny dipping.
The skinny dipping was the part I was like, hang on a minute, this is the same thing. But I was like, okay, it's similar, but I was not as mad about it as you seem to be, where I was like, you know what? I'm glad we have one of these where the two of them start out at odds. Because yes, there's obviously been the one before with Beauty and the Beast where they started out at odds. But you heard our thoughts on that one. It's not the best work in the world. And so this one felt a little more like, oh, they're at odds, but I kind of want to see where they go together. And the whole road trip part was fine. That's a note I made in that chapter, is when we get to that same thing as before with the hot tub scene, that's where they're getting handsy and they're kissing for the first time and all that. That is where I wrote it down. It feels like the balloon deflated there. Whereas with the other one, I was still interested by that point, and there was the whole last third, which wasn't entertaining enough. I don't know. It really just felt like so many of the beats were redundant and in comparison deflating.
Yeah, because you gotta give it to the last author. Taking Little Mermaid and then turning it into an indie band concert tour. That's kind of imaginative. That's the props we gave the first book. You're taking Cinderella and turning it into The Bachelor. That's interesting. That's different. That's unique. And so this just felt so safe. And then they just did so many tropes of the last book that I was like, the last book did it better.
What's also interesting to think about is that obviously all the Disney animated films are readaptations. None of them are the exact direct text, but like I was rambling about, where Tangled takes some liberties and is very cool, like 2010's take, like we're self-aware, this princess can fend for herself and all that sort of stuff. But there's iterations of differences between the film and the source material. And this one, the iterations are more. Like, I rarely think of Tangled as Rapunzel because it is a road trip movie. It is so little of it takes place with her in the tower. It is its own thing. And what's more, it is a film from 2010. So the sensibilities of a script written in the late 2000s and animated and released in 2010 are going to have different sensibilities that are going to readapt differently from something as classical as like Cinderella or something like The Little Mermaid, which is several decades older. So I don't know. There is just this, I touched on it a little bit in my notes, especially later on, but there is a part of me that wonders if the more post Y2K 2000s sensibilities are more reflected in this adaptation versus the other ones. There's a part of me that wonders that it's one thing to take the loose idea of Cinderella and make it modern, but it's another thing to take what is kind of not really Rapunzel. It is its own thing and then readapt it.
Yeah, it's completely different than the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Which doesn't help because I'm like, the prince in the story got blinded and still fell in love. Like, what are you doing, Fitz?
Right.
There was no tower you had to climb.
Yeah, my take on this would be like, she's in a skyscraper. Oh, she's way up there on the top. Something like that, just leaning into the Rapunzel element of Tangled, I would say. But since this is an adaptation of Tangled, you're taking a road trip movie and adapting it into a road trip book. You're not taking a fairy tale. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Yes, the other books felt like more the movie than the original, but even then, barely.
Right.
This one feels almost 1-to-1 in a lot of ways. And so it just feels kind of boring in that aspect.
Yeah.
They do a really good job of the chemistry and them going to the monuments and then all these other things happening, the festival, whatever. And she's not allowed to go to restaurants, but she's allowed to have her neighbor's moonshine. Those are really good moments, but when you look at it and you try to summarize it, it's just, yeah, that happened. Yay.
That happened. Yay.
That happened. Because I just want to get to the interesting point.
There really is not much to talk about until chapter 30.
Yeah.
I've kind of run through most of my notes already. There were some moments that I was kind of endeared by because Ren acts like every single D&D character I've ever written.
Fact. She's adorable.
I love her. There's a lot of herself that I see in myself because she's quirky. She's a weirdo. But there really just isn't that much to say. The last note I have is just what I was talking about earlier, where it's by the time we get to the hot tub, it's deflated. I was with it. I was telling my girlfriend how much I was enjoying this book up until the point where they kiss for the first time. I was liking the tension. I was like, oh, I kind of hope this keeps going. I love me a romance novel where there is tension. We don't get to sex immediately.
Slow burn.
Takes slow burn. Yeah, it's a tip and trendy thing. Everyone likes slow burn novels, but I wanted it to burn slower. In an ideal version of this same narrative, it would be it's not until they're in the hotel at the very end, after all the crazy bananas stuff that happens in the last 80 pages. Well, in my version, it would be more than 80 pages, but that is where things would get to their boiling point. You know, that is where it would happen. It would just be this calm after the storm where they're able to find each other. But I didn't write this book, did I?
No, we've been writing these books since we've been reading them. But yeah, because it's just very by the numbers. Oh, they go to the rubber ducky or whatever it's called. I forget what it's called. Oh no, it's been a while since I've seen the movie. But they go to a place with all the terrible people. But actually, I have a dream. Yeah, I've had a dream. Blah, blah, blah. And this one is a biker bar. And I thought they were going to have karaoke.
I did not think it would default in dad jokes. Oh, dad jokes is what we're doing?
That was rough. I don't believe for a second you don't get stabbed at a biker bar because you tell really bad dad jokes. No, we got a whole lot of money and a burner phone and like a bunch of other stuff. They even gave our wallets back with everything in it.
But see, you've got to remember, as is established in the last book, these all take place in the same universe until proven otherwise. I know it was just that they mentioned the Bachelor show or whatever in the last book. So until proven otherwise, these all take place in the same universe. And you've got to remember, as established in the second book, by the book, a parrot on a guy's shoulder is the funniest thing in the world in this universe. So by that logic, we can understand that these dad jokes are killer comedy.
No. No. Of all of the things that they actually show her doing, Mount Rushmore is the one we're going to focus a lot of time on.
The whole thing of, oh, we're going to take a picture by the flag too. It was just such a weird, there feels like there's a more, having been out that way a long time ago, maybe 20 odd years ago, I saw Mount Rushmore, saw these sort of things. There's a lot of very interesting things you could talk about closer to Mount Rushmore.
Whatever, they go to Mount Rushmore, fine. It would have made more sense that more of the road trip was them sightseeing, but they go to places like St. Louis and all they see is the hot tub.
I was really hoping that we'd have a day in Atlanta so they would list off all these Atlanta tourist things because I would be genuinely curious.
No, we're still getting gypped. We were skipped with the last book, and this book is just about the suburbs. She doesn't even go to the city.
God knows what end of Atlanta he's in. I'm trying to picture, is he bougie? Is he a Buckhead boy? Where's he at? Come on. That's one of the anxieties because one of my own projects I want to write someday is road trip heavy. And I've thought about it way ahead of time. It's like if I'm writing a road trip or drawing, if it's a comic, drawing a road trip adventure, I am going to find the stuff on that route that's on like Atlas Obscura or whatever. I'm going to go and find like, what is the weird stuff? What is the interesting stuff? What is the stuff that is important to the science? I'm not doing Mount Rushmore. That'd be like me writing that the only place they go in Atlanta is the world of Coca-Cola or something. No, there's very interesting niche things. And I mean, I know she's seeing the sites because she's never seen them before. And sure, you can invoke her her going to these, oh, you gotta see Mount Rushmore or whatever, you gotta see this. But it feels like there's an opportunity to invoke a lot of personality into writing a road trip, doing a story through a road trip. And instead it's the most, here's Mount Rushmore, here's St. Louis, way sort of thing. It's, here's a made up music festival from Nashville because they like country music and barbecue, so it's gonna be there. When I found out they were going to Nashville, I was like, oh man, wouldn't it be fun if they mentioned, not to be too much of a nerd, they demolished a theme park, they demolished Opryland or whatever. Wouldn't it be fun if Fritz was like, oh yeah. I was waiting for an Opryland mention when they talked about Nashville, about being in the city, but no.
No, they just have a random beer country music festival. That's Nashville. They don't even go to Broadway Street.
That's on TV for everyone to see, which leads us to the last chunk of the book. But yeah.
Even if you don't go to the places, it's really easy to be like tourist attractions in X city. And it's like, okay, so you've been to Mount Rushmore and none of these other places.
Right.
I don't believe for a second. Okay. So why did she even pack a swimsuit?
The fun of a road trip story for me is just finding weird stuff.
Although I will give this to them. They do not go much farther than kissing in the book, but that hot tub scene, oh my goodness.
That was the point where I was like, this is good. I really like this. I like the description of trembling and them being nervous. Her being nervous is really cute. Okay, this is great. This is great.
Smut has done less for me before.
Yeah. I mean, you know, their background is in fan fiction, so that's not super surprising, but they probably still had those really firm Disney parameters to work within.
Still, so I feel like some authors just rely on smut. They're more awkward than good most of the time, and then they just knock it out of the park with just a couple of kisses, and dang, this is y'all's bread and butter. Okay, I understand.
Exactly.
Anyway, they're at the festival. She's dancing around. There's a news crew, so she's on the news, and it turns out that, oh no, Gloria sees it and travels to Atlanta.
Knows exactly where she's going. Oh, she's definitely going to her father.
Gets there before her.
Crazy. That was the point where I was like, okay, what? And then 2 chapters later, I'm like, what the?
What pulled me out of it, so they switch it from Flynn to Fitz, which I'm not 100% sure why they did that.
Yeah, they could have just done like Finn or something. They didn't even have to go that far.
Yeah, I don't know, but the point of his name being Eugene is that she laughs at it, which everyone has done to him, and that's why he changed his name to something cool, but he realizes he doesn't mind when she calls him that. And actually, I want you to call me that.
Because he's Flynn Rider. He's the cool dude. And so then when it's outed, oh, my name is Eugene.
It's to show that he loves that she sees the true him.
Eugene is a funny name, and then she calls him by it for the rest of the movie, and it's very sweet. And that was not at all in this. Completely lost in translation.
His name's Edward.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I think they wrote Twilight fan fiction.
Yeah.
Edward is a normal name. Perfectly fine. 2024. A person will walk up to me and be called Edward. It means nothing. It's not weird. Why did you even change your name?
There's plenty of Eugene level names you could go for that are less cool, less rich boy or whatever. And they don't do it. They just, oh, here's Edward. It's like, all right.
It completely misses the point of it, which so many little things that they do where I'm like, what was the point of this? There wasn't even a mention of a rubber duck in the biker park. You're gonna do it. I don't know how you're doing this because, like I said, I really like the IP. I really like Rapunzel, but I'm not even the movie's biggest fan. I don't think it would be in my top 10, but I'm offended on people's behalf.
I mean, I think enough of it worked for me. The romance, the road trip, there was a solid enough chunk of the book where I was on board and I was interested and I was like, yeah, I'm liking this. Is going okay. That I'm able to forgive some of its more egregious referential sins, some of the disconnect between the original and this. I was primarily just curious going into it, what I was talking about with the degrees of separation, because Tangled already feels like a reinterpretation of Rapunzel, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a reinterpretation of a reinterpretation. That'd be like them doing one of these based on Frozen or something. It's a reinterpretation of a reinterpretation. Tangled in my brain is its own own thing. Obviously, it is Disney doing Rapunzel, but it is more than that. There's enough changes. So I was interested to see what the disconnects would be in translating it over. And so I wasn't so attached to the original to be caught off guard or upset when that happened.
There's not enough different for me to feel like the first book where it's just Cinderella inspired. I want to be like book 3 with the little fork and it's a trident, but then she runs it through her hair, but it's also the knickknack. I want that. If we're gonna do it, then do it.
Commit.
Also, the fireworks happen the day before her birthday. There's fireworks at the festival. They watch it. And the whole point is that she's going to whatever. It ends up being he takes her into a field. Okay.
It feels like maybe they forgot that element. Not that they forgot it from the book, that they were like, oh, she's questing to go to this place. She remembers these fireworks. Oh, and it's also her birthday. Oh, we already wrote that part. It's like what was one idea in the original text is in their head 2 different ideas, or they split into 2 different ideas.
Yeah, because Fitz takes her to a nice dinner and whatever, but he takes her to a field and they just have a bunch of sparklers and she stares at 100 sparklers. That's a lot of sparklers.
That was, what's your birthday gift? A bunch of sparklers. We're going to play with them for an hour.
Homegirl, I know you're easily excited, but my goodness, that's a lot of sparklers. Okay, top 3 birthday, woohoo. Anyway, like I said, goes to Atlanta. Gloria intercepts, takes her home. So the only thing that this girl sees in all of Atlanta is the airport, which is probably as far as Christina and Lauren seem to have gotten.
They didn't even mention the plane train. It's the best thing in the world. It's so efficient, so cool. It's the darling star of the Atlanta airport. And they didn't even mention. Ren would be obsessed with it. She would be like, oh my God, there's a train in the airport.
There is a train in the airport.
Don't even mention it. But that was the moment where I was like, oh, okay. I thought I was reading the chapter where it's her and Gloria sitting down, and I genuinely thought, oh, interesting.
Yeah, because Gloria claims that she was married to her biological father, and he was abusive, so they had to run away.
Okay, that's an interesting angle. Maybe we're having more of a conversation. Maybe Gloria's opening up. Maybe that's going to be the last chunk of the book. And I was like, you know what? I'm okay with that. I am very interested by that choice to readapt it in this way. And then, of course, the next chapter happens.
But before we get to that, so of course, Gloria has to be like, oh, you don't want to meet your dad because he's actually abusive. And we're not going to tell Fitz because she tells him his criminal record. And honestly, it's not that much.
It really isn't.
I don't remember it right off my head, but it's small things, like he stole a car and then he was in a possession of a firearm and there was a robbery. And so she gets really hung up on the firearms count. But Fitz explains it really easily. He's like, I stole a car. I didn't know there was a gun in it.
Right.
Because it says robbery, not armed robbery.
Right.
And maybe she's just not cultured enough to know the difference, but I'm just like, he literally told you that he's had run-ins with the law. And she does come back around, because right then he's like, he didn't tell me only because I didn't ask the right questions. No, it's because you literally said, I don't care what it is. Like, you didn't murder anyone. You didn't do all these horrible things. And then, like you said, you see his rap sheet, and it's like, oh, a child got into some trouble.
Right.
And went to juvie, and he has had no other issues. He's at the top of his college. Like in the movie, she sets it up where it looks like Flynn took the crown and is leaving.
Right. And that's the thing, my biggest problem with all of this. You can have your massive third act swings, whatever you want to do. But in the movie, Mother Gothel, we know she's a villain from the beginning. We know the kidnapping has occurred. But then she's also an undercurrent. She is sneaking along behind them. She's setting it up. She's setting it up to look like Flynn ran off with the thing. Gloria disappears for all of the novel until this very end scene. And if you're going to commit to this aspect, because I sent Sam my notes, I said in chapter 9, when we got to this DNA part, I was like, I swear, if they keep the kidnapping element, that's crazy. And then sure enough, it was crazy. But if you're going to commit and you're going to make that big swing decision, what you should at least do is weave it in so it's not like a complete backlash. You can still have them out go on a road trip and have this fun chemistry and have enemies to lovers or whatever, but what? Sprinkle in a bit of Gloria. Throw a chapter or a few in from her perspective. You can keep it coy so you're not giving away the secrets immediately, but just try and repopulate them into the book. Don't just cut them out entirely.
Yeah. Gloria doesn't even really do what Mother Gothel does. If you're gonna actually be a kidnapper, go all out.
Right.
I feel like her husband Steve does most of it. She's just kind of there.
And then Steve eats lead, so.
Oh my gosh. So that whole scene makes me so mad. But she's back on the homestead, and Steve and Gloria immediately decide that they have to sell the homestead and move, because Ren admits to saying a couple things about the nearby town, and so they're convinced they're going to find him. So they're going to go see a real estate agent, and they tell Ren to wait outside? You think she's a flight risk? She's not leaving my eyesight.
Right. She's going to bail. She's going to run away. Why? What?
She's going to figure it out. Like, something's going to happen. Like, you need to keep it. Whatever. She goes to the Five and Dime to use the restroom and ends up accessing her student email, where she finds out that the dean is sending her email about her mom calling the college and saying that Flynn's a cheater and that she has a Polaroid. And she's like, why would my mom do that? Why would she destroy someone if it doesn't even matter anymore? Because she's vindictive, apparently. Trying to ruin him, I guess. But that's all she can do. And that night, she sneaks into her parents' room to look through. Gloria has a secret box. Which, did you get SpongeBob vibes?
Yes. The secret box with the most obvious incriminating information.
The thing we haven't mentioned this entire time, but now it's suddenly a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
You can't MacGuffin in the last 3 chapters.
The last less than 70 pages. This all happens.
This box randomly shows up. Oh yeah, it has so much secrets, and I've just never thought to look in it before, but now I'm looking in it. She's trying to find the Polaroid so that her mom can't send it to the college. And then she finds out all of these marriage certificates and passports and birth certificates, which, Gloria, I'm sorry, you're dumb. Get a safe. You just have them in a box on a dresser. Kids look for stuff. Anyway, this being very stupid. Like, she's so paranoid, and they go out of their way, but then they aren't paranoid enough to satisfy me.
They don't put the most incriminating things in a lockbox or something.
It's not even locked. Ugh. So she's like, oh, this doesn't make sense. Why do they have different names? Like, the marriage certificate thing doesn't line up. Their stories don't really line up. And so she confronts them, which is very dangerous.
I mean, she doesn't for sure know.
I'm not mad about that part because she's Ren. These are her parents. She grew up with them. She has an attachment with them that is not safe for her to have because she's still coming to terms with this. So I can totally see why she would do that. But my girl, you are in the middle of nowhere with 2 people that may, for all intents and purposes, be strangers to you and not your parents. I wouldn't act like anything's weird, is all I'm saying. But I have the benefit of experience in life and true crime. So fine, she does that. That doesn't seem totally weird. This is my negative 1-star moment.
Here we go.
Steve insists that they leave the house right now. I'm baffled at their actions at this point.
Yeah, this whole bit was so confusing. Yes!
Ditch and run! This girl obviously is figuring out that you're not who you say they are. She's not going to be compliant unless you're going to tie her up and keep her in the basement for forever. You gotta know when to quit. But Steve decides, no, we're going to take her. We're going to leave right now. We're going. They're never going to be able to find us ever again. Fireworks start going off.
I like to imagine that Edward was with them and was like, hey guys, what would be a really, really cool way to step onto the scene? What would be really meaningful for my baby girl? Setting off fireworks.
Give them notice. The FBI, they're using the SWAT team. SWAT! To go up to this homestead situation where they have firearms. This is insanely dangerous. There are so many examples in the FBI history of shootouts in this exact situation where they're holed up, there's a hostage, and they get into a firefight and it becomes super deadly. So what they're gonna do is try to get in there, surprise them, grab them, and get out because that's less dangerous. But they bring bring along 2 civilians, random civilians.
This college kid and this dad, they're on the team. They gotta be armed up, ready to go with fireworks.
And they set off pyrotechnics.
Oh my God, they're raiding the stair with bullets. Just start firing them all. And they just start like shooting out the window.
They do! Literally, Ren has to escape by a window because they're grabbing shotguns to fight them. Ren managed to get out through the window. Gloria tries to grab her. She tries to grab her. She runs into Fitz and her dad, and she's safe and whatever. And she has a conversation with him. It's like, oh my goodness, you're here, whatever. And then SWAT goes in.
I like to imagine there's gunshots going off in the background while they're having, you're here, and it's just
literally, you're here. SWAT passes them and goes to the place, and then Fitz is like, oh, we should get out of here.
Crazy.
What? -1 star. I cannot with this scene. It makes my blood boil so bad.
This is another chapter. I had to slow down and be like, maybe let me read that page again. I think I missed something here. No, it was just written that way.
Commit or don't? What is this? What even is this? And yeah, as you said, Gloria is arrested and Steve is shot.
Steve is dead. That was the other reason I had to flip back a page. I was like, hang on, did Steve? Oh, Steve's dead. But then they describe her going to therapy, so everything's okay. The man who I thought was my father my whole life, dead. Never going to acknowledge it again, sort of thing.
Props for this book for even involving therapists. You gotta be on it.
They've all got to go see some therapists.
They all get therapy. That is the happy ending.
Exactly.
But yeah, they just set him up in this random hotel in Boise, and Ren's allowed to ask for Fitz to be in the room with her.
And what's more, they're allowed to get out when they chop her hair off. I'm like, surely that's not allowed.
Yeah, so she cuts her hair and dyes it so they can get out of the hotel because all the true crime people are wanting a piece of her. And so she dyes her hair, and so they're allowed to go get ice cream.
Bizarre. And then there's the big, they call him like the fridge. That was another, I had to flip the page back. I'm like, did I read that wrong? There's just a new bodyguard character who we're calling Fridge. Okay, sure.
And this is where you know Fitz is a true monster. They go get ice cream. He gets a sugar cone.
Okay.
No, don't even. He gets a sugar cone. He eats the ice cream and throws the sugar cone away.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Why didn't you get a bowl? That bothers me so much. It's the best part.
These women are psychopaths. Have them locked up.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, no real plan here. She's just like, I'm gonna be free for a while. And Fitz is like, and I'm gonna be free with you.
And then I was really hoping, I was looking at the page count and I was like, oh, I hope there's an epilogue a few months later or something like that. No, literally just one page saying, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and they lived happily ever after. Just a bummest note, bummest of bum notes to end on, copiest of cop-outs.
Kind of lame.
I was honestly with it for so much of it. I don't mind the enemies to lovers. I was having fun with it. I like a road trip. Sure, there were some irritations here and there, and it was very surface level, but I was on board with it. And it just nosedived in those last 80 pages or something. Crazy drop off.
General thoughts. Everything is freaking yawning. Did you notice that there would be little phrases that would repeat over and over and over again?
No, I didn't.
I'm using the yawning as an example because it would be the randomest things are yawning, not people, things. The silence yawned. What? What does that even mean?
Once you find those verbs, those adjectives, those adverbs that you really like, I am guilty of that too.
But she uses it so often. She uses it with silence at least twice, where she's like, the silence yawned.
It's subliminal. She's trying to get you to yawn because yawning is infectious, and then you'll fall asleep.
And it's a bedtime story.
It's a bedtime story subliminally.
Yawning is the opposite. Yawning's not quiet. I'm really confused. There was one where, not darkness, but like a chasm yawned between them. Just say opened. Why? And it happens 4 or 5 times, which is far too many for this book. And there was a couple other ones, but the yawning caught me every time because it was always just in the oddest places for it to be. But there were several other times. And I'm just like, all right, which one of you? I don't believe for a second that, oh, we both wrote it so many times. No, one of you is guilty of this.
Yep.
Who is it?
We should wager bets. Which one? I think it's the neuroscientist. I think she's yawning. She's so tired getting her degree. She's yawning.
I don't know. Trying to be poetic, but purple prose just ain't working out for you, and you hit uncanny valley.
Oh, God.
With words somehow, where it just sounds like back in the day, like 10 years ago, we fed AI 1,000 hours of Olive Garden commercials. Go ahead and make one. And it's the most out-of-pocket Olive Garden commercial.
When AI was fun and not just sad.
Sometimes that's how I felt with this book. It's just, it both commits to the bit too much and too little. And there is a tone issue where most of this book is Hallmark road trip. And then the last 70 pages is a true crime documentary.
Death by SWAT team. Yeah, exactly. Crazy.
And then we never really come back from that.
Exactly.
It just feels like it turns into a commentary about true crime with all the people wanting her attention and she just wants to be free. She didn't ask to be a victim. Leave her alone.
Briefly, the briefest of flashes of any element of that. This is literally the last 10 pages.
But they're free together. What is going on? I'm so confused.
Such a steep drop off, man. I don't know what to tell you.
And I don't think I've read any of, I still have them on my TBR. I'm still going to read it. Danielle gave them 5 stars. But it just comes to ask the question, is this Disney? Did Disney just not give them the time and resources to turn out a good story?
I mean, you're talking about how good the intimacy parts was. It probably was just that. Maybe these books they're writing that are really good are a lot of that. And then they couldn't do a whole bunch of that because it's Disney or whatever.
But here's the thing. I think they should have gotten more Hallmark. Because we've had some of the spicier ones, part of the book talk. Let's go the complete opposite direction, because that's the vibe we were getting off of this. No canoodling. Let's Hallmark this. Cute road trip. She was adopted. She finds out about her father, so she's going to do this trip.
Right.
And meet her biological family, and it's all going to work out, and it's going to be great.
That's what I assumed it would be. I assumed it would be a cozy, because this whole series is marketed as being cozy. I assumed it was going to be that. The cozy aspect keeps consistent where you're just having this real adult conversation with Gloria about her ex-spouse. But no, it turns out the ex-spouse is the good guy the whole time. And there's a whole kidnapping element. Craziness.
One question for the author. I really want to know their personal connection to Rapunzel, because I feel like one of them really likes Rapunzel and Flynn and that whole relationship. And one of them's really excited about modernizing Rapunzel.
I would also want to know how they split things between the two of them. My theory being that the neuroscientist is the one with the big words and the yawning and all that, and probably the historical stuff as well. And then the intimacy is the other one.
I always want to know the connection, because I love when one of these authors is obsessed with the IP and then grows up and gets a chance to have their own addition to the IP and work with Disney. It's like, yeah, let's cheer for you. That's awesome. So I'd really like to know their connection. And yes, I'm with you. We will never get how they split it up. Never, because they'll never admit to it. No, I'm kidding. But yeah. Agreed. Rating, driving a car that needs repairs out of 10. You know your battery's going bad, so at any second it could completely turn off, because once batteries go, they go quick. Literally the morning of, oh, it's acting a little weird. Try to turn it on after work, and it's dead. And that's how I felt about this book. We were going fine, and then we hit a little turbulence, and then it died. Like Steve.
Yeah.
How did they pick these names anyway? Like Mother Gothel to Gloria. Where does Steve even come in? I'm so confused. Anyway.
I'm going to give it 5 Steves getting shot out of 10.
What does that even mean?
What does any of this mean? What's going on in this book? It's just a shot of him getting eviscerated by the SWAT team plays 5 times in a loop. And that will leave you as perplexed and confused as the sudden drop off in this book did to me.
So many things where you're just like, what? But not... anyway.
It's not the worst.
Read again.
No.
Maybe
if it had just kept up that momentum in the middle, I would have read it again. Because, I mean, we're going to get to this in a second. I don't think it's the worst one. I had a fine time with it for that middle chunk.
I don't think is the worst one because we read book 2.
Yes, I feel like our ratings are going to be very similar.
That doesn't mean I want to read it again. I'd rather go and find one of those book talk contemporary romances. Sure, most of them are overstated, but one of them has to be good. I'd rather try something new.
Right. My curiosity was there, but if it had kept that momentum, again, I might be saying differently, but it dropped it. It dropped it real bad.
Favorite of the series so far, Kiss the Girl.
Yeah, Kiss the Girl. The question is, do you put this above or below the first one?
So it's definitely above the second one. I would put Cinderella higher than this, only because it was the land of drop subplots, missed opportunities, and what the crap is going on. But she sure tried. I will give points for attempts. The concept of Cinderella the Bachelor was so interesting. And she's like, okay, I'm like shoes because she's a fashion designer.
And having her leave plus side is a unique angle.
Yeah, that's the weird thing, because the first book, it's different because she was a plus size woman. And then the second book is different because she's a black woman. And the third book's different because she's Latina.
None of that here.
We're back to where we are.
We're the whitest couple alive.
We're just them. There's no twist on it. It's honestly like they stopped trying.
Yeah.
Rapunzel's actually twins or something. I don't know.
See, that would be interesting, though.
Heaven forbid. So I would put that one higher because I gave this one 3 stars and I would give the first book 3.5.
Yeah, I gave the first one 3, and this one shows up as a 3 on Goodreads, but it's probably closer to like a 2.75, if not a 2.5. But you can't do half stars on Goodreads. I rounded up because I was so with it for a while, and then that disappeared. It looks like this book series just isn't meant to be.
Jesse, it's on your shoulders, ma'am. You will see. But hey, worst comes to worst, it's the last one, probably.
We'll have to line up the next series. I already have some ideas.
We need to pick better.
I didn't say better.
We can't keep following authors 5 books in. But have you read this book? Tangled or Frozen? #stay toxic. Do you have any book recommendations for us? Tell us all about it in the comments below. If you liked the video, hit like, and if you're enjoying yourself, hit subscribe for more. Thank you for exploring Tangled Up with us. An awkward sentence. Thanks, publisher. Join us next time when we'll be covering Truth of the Divine by Lindsay Ellis. I'm Sam Reiner.
And I'm Keira.
And we hope to see you and a friend here next time. Escape With Me Book Club is a Lunar Skulk production. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok to keep up to date with us. Lunar_SKULK.